A Psychic's Handbook, Methods and Advice for Communicating with Spirits by Michelle Welch. This is a very recent book published through Llewellyn Publishing. This is Michelle Welch over here, psychic medium and award-winning author of The Magic Connection and Spirits Unveiled. I received this book from Llewellyn and I'm very grateful. I have not made a review for quite a few days, and the reason for that is because I've been quite engrossed in this one. I didn't really want to put it down. The moment I do a review is the moment that I usually have to stop reading the book and move on to another book to review, and I really was thoroughly enjoying this one. I didn't really want it to stop. And so, yeah, we have here a book in 4 parts. I'm going to say 3 major parts, and maybe parts 3 and 4 could be thought of as appendices. But oh my goodness. First of all, I really appreciate Michelle's approach here. The whole point of this book is to get you, the reader, to create a course for yourself, a method for developing your psychic abilities that is good for you through the creation of of your own grimoire, essentially your own psychic manual. And so the introduction teaches you what kind of materials you're going to need to create this manual. Let's see, handbook, literally handbook. So of course this book is called A Psychic's Handbook, but it's about creating a psychic's handbook that is specific to you. And if you know anything about my channel, you know that I believe that an individual's magic involves that individual, and we are the principal ingredient in the magic that we do. And because we're all different, it means that we're going to need combinations of ourself with different things. Different things are going to work for different people because we are different people, and we are one of the ingredients, the main ingredient, in fact, of our magic. So yes, having this as a core principle in this book, to say there isn't just one way. There is a way that's good for you. There's a way that's good for your neighbor, and you need to work out what's good for you. I really deeply appreciate that. So the first part, let's see, the first part, if we can actually get there, is about here it is, assembling your psychic handbook, right? So you get a little idea about what the handbook is going to be like, but all the way through you're getting these little exercises giving you ideas on what your style is, what your particular strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what exercises you can do to develop those strengths, and what exercises you can do to make those weaknesses a little less weak. So just all the basics, basically. I think this is going to be one of my regular recommendations. Matt Oren wrote a lovely introduction, a really lovely preface to this book, and I can't think of a better author, in fact, to introduce the book, because his Psychic Witch, I'm going to say, is very strongly related to this. And I think that if you enjoyed Psychic Witch, you're really going to enjoy this as well. Fascinating chapter on the clairs, so the clairvoyance, clairaudience, and many other things. And once again, because different people are going to be receiving their psychic knowing from different places and in different ways, via different senses. Once again, you're getting these baseline exercises just to work out where you currently are, and then prompts for your journal, prompts for your exercises, prompts for developing that particular aspect. And maybe there's going to be a particular kind of divination that you're really going to enjoy and that you like the idea of. And you're going to get ideas on how to develop that particular way of accessing divine information, essentially. And then there's a whole section on auras, a whole section on chakras, and you can see what I'm showing you, avoid these pitfalls. It is very comprehensive. If there's one down point, I would say, is that sometimes it can be a little bit general, especially with the baseline kind of thing, right? So when you're establishing your specific baseline for a particular area, so are you good with clairaudience? There's going to be a baseline exercise. If you are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10, and if you've answered yes to most of these, then you're probably quite good with clairaudience. I found that those tended to be a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe stereotypical, right? Rather than well, because different people's styles vary so much, it's very difficult to say, okay, if you've got this and this and this and this and this, then you're probably good at this spiritual exercise or psychic exercise. Just simply because people are so different. I found that those sections didn't always work quite so well. All right, so that's a very, very small down point compared to the value of the exercises and of the examples, the illustrations, and so on. I thought that was really, really nothing at all. Okay, so then the section 2 is about the 3 C's. Let me just remember. I think is it written on the back over here? Yes, there we go. Discover the 3 C's, the 4 R's, and the 8 E's of psychic success. So the 3 C's being the clairs, right? The clairvoyance, clairaudience, and so on. Then there is the chakras, and there is here it is. So the reason I couldn't remember is because it's color, the color of your aura, of course, and of the auras of people around you. The details about the various possible colors and what they mean. Very well researched, very accurate, and very useful for just as much the beginner as the advanced practitioner, right? There are plenty of areas that you might have specialized in and simply missed out other areas and so on. So then you've got the 4 R's, which are these are for divination, right? So then there's a whole section, part 2, which is on the various styles of divination, and the 4 parts of divination being requesting, receiving, reading, and then relaying the information. Really nice structured way of thinking about any form of divination and mediumship. And then the pitfalls, how to recognize a charlatan, right? Which I thought was particularly interesting and insightful. So as you can see, we're already getting quite close to the end of the book before we get to part 3, which is why I found part 3 and part 4 a little bit closer to being appendices. But nevertheless fascinating practices. Like practice makes psychic, exercises to sharpen your psychic senses. I mean, it's not like the author hasn't given loads of exercises all the way through, but here you get more exercises and very, very pointed, very nice exercises to develop your psychic senses. And then further on part 4, finally, you get the 8 E's, I think it is. All the aspects of being a psychic, which you really have to keep in check and just think about. Remember to protect your energy, and remember the ethics involved in being a psychic and in giving readings for people or selling readings for people and so on, right? And so on. So yes. My goodness, this is a tremendous work by Michelle Welch, and I would be very surprised if anyone picked this book up and found nothing to improve their practice. It's very comfortably written as well, right? You read this and it feels like the author cares about your understanding. And has a keen understanding of her own of what it takes to be a psychic on many different levels. So terrific stuff. Michelle Welch's A Psychic Handbook. That's a strong recommendation from me. I hope you enjoyed the review, folks. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up, hit that like button, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you'd like to support the channel, then of course there's a Patreon, which gives you access to the Foolish Fish Discord and many other perks, and I do recommend going to check all of that out. And of course, if you'd like to have a one-to-one conversation with me, then the links to do that can be found down below as well. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye-bye.